Hello everyone, my name is Love Kher and I'm here with my friend Mr. KJ Sharma. And today we are going to discuss briefly what is enlightenment. A very important topic. Everybody wants to know enlightenment and everybody wants to know how they can achieve. So let's talk about enlightenment. Uh, Before we go into the details, what is enlightenment? Define that, please.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. K. Uh, yeah. Basically, enlightenment is to realize the same, the self. To realize the self itself is the state of enlightenment. Now, what is the self? Self is the consciousness which is present within all individuals because of which all the activities are taking place. Because of the presence of the consciousness, all the activities are taking place in the embodiment, in every creature's body. So that consciousness is the self, and it is possible only in case of human being, because human beings are blessed with two capacities, the mind and intellect both, man and buddhi. And because of the power of the buddhi intellect, which has got the power of analyzing and realizing, understanding, acquiring the knowledge, it is possible to have the inner journey to realize the self which is within, the consciousness present within. So, once we start having the inner journey and ultimately we realize the consciousness within our body, which is the self, once that is fully realized, not knowing is one thing. But simply knowing is not the realization. Realization is when you are absolutely one with the self, when you are fully realized. That is the state of enlightenment.
So, when one person is enlightened, how does that person look like? Do they behave differently? Do they walk differently? How would anybody know that such and such person is enlightened?
Yes. You see, as far as the all external activities are concerned, so long the person having the body, so long the body is surviving, is alive, all activities will be taking place.
So, there will not be any difference
So,
in the.
from outwardly, when you see a person who is enlightened, you will not be able to make the difference whether he is enlightened or not. But, but you will be able to understand from his behavior. And what is the distinct behavior that enlightened person will have is that enlightened person will see the same consciousness present in every individual, in every living creature. And he will be absolutely respectful with every creature, every living being. He will never have likes or dislikes. It will never happen that he will be liking somebody and disliking somebody, because he will be seeing the same consciousness present in every living creature.
Right. So, in other words, he will, that person will not have any personal agenda to make differences or distinction between and among the various people.
The little personal agenda is a different, that is another topic. You see, he will be he will never have likes or dislikes. But simple as that.
Which is
So
what we call Isha, Dvesha.
yeah.
So, those both will be gone.
So because he will be seeing the, he will not be seeing only the outwardly appearance of the body. He will be seeing the presence of the consciousness within the body. So when he finds that the same consciousness which is within me, I am, I know that, I feel that, I experience that. The same consciousness is present there.
Yeah.
So how can I be disrespectful to anybody?
Okay.
So that is the state, there will be no difference or contradictions.
So, how can I achieve enlightenment? What do I need to do to come to that state?
Yes. In order to come to that stage, first of all, one has to understand that mind and intellect, these are two capacities that every human being has. Rest of all the animals, they have the mind. And mind has got, certain way of functioning in every creature. That is called in Hindi or in Sanskrit, we call it Kam, Krodh, Mad, Lobh, Moh, and Matsarya. So these are the 5, 6 ways, that's the way the mind functions. But human beings are blessed with additional capacity, which is called intellect, buddhi. And buddhi has the capacity to acquire the knowledge. And because of that capacity to acquire the knowledge, when we acquire the knowledge, when we start knowing, so in case of human being, what happens, the quest arises to know or to understand why these activities are taking place, why the creatures who are living, or why I'm having all my senses functioning within me. So we realize that, oh, that is because of the consciousness which is present within the body. So once that quest starts about understanding the consciousness within, then the inner journey starts. Excuse me. So when the inner journey starts, then what happens? Then our objective interactions looking outward, it starts diminishing, and slowly then we tend to close our eyes. We don't want to see the objects, to go to the diversities. Rather than we start trying to understand within the presence of the consciousness, and that is the state that we start meditating. So the continuous meditation, what happens when continuously this journey keeps going within, and we continue, then what happens, that we start transcending the mind. Transcending the mind means the mind function is to always mm, looking at the objects, and through the 5 senses we start interacting, or we uh, start interacting. So when we start retrieving our mind, then all these activities through the 5 senses start ceasing, and the concentration happens through the process of meditation on within the self, and that self is nothing but the consciousness. And this consciousness is all pervading, omnipresent, present in every creature, every living being, wherever you see the life.
So basically, it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It requires certain discipline and certain type of lifestyle and the meditation.
Basically meditation.
Meditation, right? All right. So does enlightenment leads to salvation?
Well, automatically what happens, once we have realized the self, once we have attained that level of consciousness, when the consciousness is fully realized within self, then we know that we are nobody else, but we are the Brahman, we are the consciousness ourself. Yet, so that state itself is salvation. That is the state that you have attained the moksha.
Right. So salvation and moksha are one and the same.
Well, actually, let me say that moksha, in other words, what we can say that, getting rid of the power of delusion, that is the stage of moksha. So what happens, that the enlightened person who has realized the self, that he is none other than this self, the consciousness, at that stage, what happens, that the the power of delusion, which is called Maya, the Brahman who has manifested itself in the form of entire universe, and with the power of delusion, the The Brahman has hidden itself himself. The Brahman is not male or female, but we normally call he because Purusha and Prakriti. So, uh, because of that, what happens that with the power of delusion, Maya, entire manifestations are indulging into activities. But once we have fully realized, then what happens that we get rid of Maya. Means the power of delusion does not let us to go into the diversities of the universe, but keep concentrating and knowing that I am the cause, I am the ultimate, I am the consciousness, I am the Brahman. That is how our rishis, when they realized that, they started saying, Aham Brahmasmi Mahi Brahmo, so Aham Tattvamasi. These are the Mahavakyas from our scriptures, from our Vedas. So that stage when it comes, then we are fully realized, we are always conscious that we are the Brahman, we are the consciousness ourselves. So that is the stage of moksha.
Right. So, Shamaji, I mean, it sounds very simple and easy
Yeah.
to reach to this state. Then why is there so much chaos in the world? Everybody is running away from this simple fact. And if everyone were doing a meditation and learning who am I and get the enlightenment, a lot of the challenges we see in the world would go away. What is stopping people to do that?
Yes. You see, I remember Guru Nanak say that, attaining the moksha or attaining that knowledge of the ultimate or the self realization is as difficult as passing an elephant through the eye of the needle, but it is as easy and simple like twinkling of the eye.
Yeah,
So
very true.
both these situations are there. So for a person, by twinkling of the eye and attaining that stage of enlightenment is not for everybody. Because
And it is, it's not for everybody because of their prarabdha karma or
no,
what?
so let me explain that. So because the Brahman who has manifested himself in the form of entire universe and in the form of all the creatures and all living beings, he has hidden himself by his power of delusion, Maya. So so long, one has not been able to get rid of Maya, it is not possible for those persons to attain that stage.
So it's a vicious
Maya, and Maya is so powerful because God is, I mean, Brahman is almighty. So Almighty's Maya is also very mighty. So it is not so easy. That is why Nanak says that, for an elephant to pass through the eye of the needle. So, so what happens that, to come to that stage, one has been taking birth and death in so many times. So every individuals have accumulated lot of the you know uh, fruits of their karma, and as per the fruits of the karma, they are in this cycle. So unless that stage comes that, he acquires sufficient knowledge first, because the human beings are also blessed with the power of buddhi, the intellect. So the intellect function has to acquire enough knowledge. Once the intellect acquires enough knowledge, then the quest for understanding the self, the consciousness, the cause of all the universe and all the activities, once that quest arises, then the journey starts. And when that journey starts, then only that person becomes deserving to cross the barrier or the might of Maya. And when it crosses that might of Maya, that is the stage of moksha. So this is a journey. It is not simple simple path that anyone and everyone can attain to that.
Nice, right?
One has to deserve by virtue of acquiring enough knowledge. Then the next stage come of devotion. Then the Maya, the power of delusion, leaves that person from its influence, and then the person gets fully realized within self.
Yeah. All right. So, with those concluding remarks, thank you so much, Sharma ji.
Welcome.
Uh, I will just simply say that today we learned what is enlightenment, which is basically the state of realization of the self, which is the consciousness, and the way we achieve the self, or we can recognize the self, is through a lot of introspection that we have to do by meditation, by acquiring knowledge, and those two things are, hand in hand.
With inner journey
Inner journey,
and outward interaction.
correct. And when we do that inner journey and achieve the enlightenment, then basically likes and dislikes disappear. Likes and dislikes bound us, and they don't let us reach to that path.
No, that is the stage of unenlightened people.
Yes,
When the knowledge, the real understanding of the consciousness is not there, then the people will be under the influence of Maya
correct.
and indulging into all worldly activities.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So once that b- binding force of Maya disappears, or we somehow make it disappear, then one achieves moksha, which is the ultimate freedom from all these delusional effects that God has created through Maya. Anyway, so thank you again. Until next time,